What if your greatest victory was born from your worst nightmare? What if the one thing you're running from is the one thing that will make you unforgettable? They say pressure makes diamonds. I say wrong. Pressure makes people crack. It reveals their weaknesses, their fears, and their excuses. Stick with me though, and I'll show you the hidden thread connecting a mythological Greek warrior, an Olympian with 28 medals, an ancient builder, and a kid from Queens who went from drug dealer to rapper to business mogul. This thread, once you understand it, will either lift you to victory or will leave you in the shadows of history. Welcome to the Out Hustle Mentality Podcast. It's me, Joe Olivas, your host, and here is where insight meets impact. We'll discuss the principles behind the Out Hustle Mentality philosophy and their personal application. With that said, I want you to forget everything you think you know about pressure, because we're going to redefine it and change it forever. You're going to conquer your fears and learn how to turn pressure into power. Today we visit principle number 3 of the Out Hustle Mentality philosophy. True leaders lead by example and remain calm through the chaos. This isn't about having an absence of pressure. It's about having a presence of mind within the pressure. It's the ultimate competitive advantage. While everyone else is panicking, reacting, and getting pulled into the storm, the leader is in the eye of it, calm, clear, and making the important decisions that nobody else can. Your calmness is the command. Your example is the strategy. This is where legends are made. Success leaves patterns, and so does failure. Today, we're going to isolate one of the most powerful patterns in the universe. It's a pattern that separates legends from the lost, champions from the chasers, and the leaders from the led. This is the Clarity in Crisis framework. 3 pillars, 1 pattern. It's the difference between legends and those who are forgotten, and is built on the very 3 pillars that will support your entire world moving forward: the chaos, the calm, and the lesson. Every story of greatness you've ever admired, every comeback story you've ever heard, every championship, every breakthrough follows this exact pattern. And every failure you've experienced, well, it's because one of these 3 pillars was missing. And today you're going to learn how to see them, leverage, and build all 3. Let's break it down. Pillar number 1, the chaos. This is the storm. This is the pressure, the moment where everything goes wrong, the goggles filling with water, the enemy mocking you from the sidelines. If you cannot see the chaos around you, you're not paying attention. And anything you do from this point on is a desperate gamble for success. Here's the danger. Failure is the house, and you're busy gambling. Remember, the house always wins. Pillar number 2, that's the calm. In the middle of that storm, the leader finds the calm. It's not the absence of pressure, it's the presence of a superior pattern. The calm isn't a feeling you hope for, it's a system you intentionally build. It's your sanctuary in the storm. It's where you go to execute when everyone else is losing their ever-loving mind. Pillar number 3, well, that's the lesson. This is the blueprint, the universal law we can take from any story and apply it to our lives. The lesson is how to absorb the chaos. It's about how you create a shield of focus and calm for your own life and those around you. It's understanding that your composure is your command. This is the part of the story you write down, that you read often, and that you learn from. This is the part you implement to move forward. You see, chaos has a purpose. It's designed to do one thing and one thing only: make you panic, to make you forget your training, your purpose, and your power. Our first job as leaders is to look at the chaos directly in the eye and call it by its name. We don't run from it. We don't downplay it either. We acknowledge it. Doing so shifts our fear to something productive. Fear becomes a tool, a weapon that you can use. But if you're unwilling to see the chaos for what it is, you limit your ability to deal with it like a real leader would. So you scramble. You look to others to solve it for you. But letting others solve your problems consistently will trigger a psychological phenomenon known as learned helplessness. When you avoid making decisions, your brain stops associating your own actions with positive outcomes. Over time, confidence erodes, confidence drops, and doubt takes the reins. Trust me, and I'm speaking from experience here, doubt taking the reins is way scarier. But do you see the pattern? the chaos, the calm, the lesson? I want you to think about the last time you faced a moment of real chaos in your life, a project gone wrong, a tough conversation, a moment of doubt. In that moment, where was the chaos? Did you find the calm? And looking back, what is the lesson you can extract from it now? The pattern is always there. You just have to learn how to see it. Let's apply this clarity in crisis framework to the story of Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior in all mythology. Now, I'm pulling this example from the movie Troy that featured Brad Pitt as Achilles, and a scene that I remember when I first saw the movie many, many years ago. I mean, there's so much to learn from this movie, but let's stay on track. Picture the scene. Two armies, thousands of men on both sides, staring at each other across the field. The air is thick with hate and fear. Thousands are about to be sent to their deaths for a piece of dirt. But then, one king's proposal, one duel, one winner, the stakes, an entire kingdom. The Thessalonian army calls forward their champion, a giant of a man, Bargarius. The crowd roars. They believe in their giant. They believe they've assured their victory with the selection of their champion, and thus saved their kingdom. But have they? Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, the supreme commander of the Greek forces, he knows differently. He just smiles and calls his warrior forward, the mighty Achilles, the one who would ensure Agamemnon his victory. But there's a problem. The man he needs most is nowhere to be found. While the kings are busy posturing and the armies are shouting, we cut to a quiet tent, and there he is, Achilles, the greatest warrior the world has ever known. And he's not checking his weapons, and he's not psyching himself up for some kind of battle. He is asleep, completely calm, fast asleep. A nervous boy is sent to find him. When the boy reaches the tent and wakes Achilles, he stammers, "They're waiting for you." He tells Achilles about the giant that he has seen, the biggest man I've ever seen. The boy says, his voice, it's trembling with fear. As Achilles mounts his horse, the boy's fear takes over. "I wouldn't want to fight him," he says. And without hesitation, Achilles speaks words that will forever change how this boy sees himself. He says, "That's why no one will remember your name." Let that hit you. The boy saw a giant and felt fear. Achilles learned of a giant and recognized an opportunity for a story that would live forever. The boy was worried about surviving the day. Achilles was focused on building a legacy. Achilles defeated Bergarius with one thrust of his sword. The giant fell. Achilles won. A king was defeated. But did you see the pattern? The chaos. The entire fate of the Greek army hangs in the balance. Their greatest warrior is missing, and the messenger sent to find him is a boy paralyzed by fear. The calm. Achilles is utterly composed. He rejects the boy's chaos. He isn't focused on the giant, he's focused on the pattern. His calmness isn't the absence of a threat, it's the presence of a superior perspective. The lesson? Achilles delivers the blueprint. That's why no one will remember your name. The world doesn't remember the people who see the giant as the problem. It remembers the ones who slay the giant. A leader's job is to absorb the fear of those around them and to replace it with a vision so powerful that the problem becomes insignificant. This is the clarity of crisis framework in action. You don't find the calm by avoiding the chaos. You create the calm by mastering your perspective within it. The thread is there. Now let's connect it. We talk about legends, we talk about greatness, but what separates the ones who win from the ones who almost win? It's not talent. It's what happens when the universe throws the absolute worst at them. And there's no better case study than Michael Phelps. His legacy wasn't built on gold medals. It was forged in the waters of crisis. Let's go back to Beijing, 2008, the water cube. The air is electric. This is the 200-meter butterfly final. The race was supposed to be another jewel in the crown of Phelps' quest for 8 gold medals. The world is holding its breath. Phelps, he's there on the block. Perfect form. His mind is clear. He is ready. Thousands of hours of preparation have led to this single moment. The beep sounds. He explodes into the water. Perfect dive. As he hits his stroke, his rhythm and his tempo, it happens. The chaos. At the exact moment he enters the water, a swimmer's worst nightmare strikes. His goggles fill completely. Water rushes in, blurring his vision until there is nothing but darkness. For the final 175 meters of the most important race of his life, Michael Phelps is swimming blind. Every instinct is screaming at him to panic, to lift his head, to break his form, to lose everything. But inside that darkness, there was no panic. There was only a pattern: the calm. You see, years earlier, his coach, Bob Bowman, had intentionally broken Phelps's goggles during practice. He'd do that repeatedly, over and over, for one specific reason. He had forced him to swim laps blind, so if and when the disaster struck on the world's biggest stage, it didn't feel like a crisis. It felt like a random Tuesday. Phelps stopped trying to see. He started counting. He knew it took exactly 21 strokes to get from one end of the pool to the other, so he counted. 1, 2, 3, all the way to the wall. He didn't see it coming, but he knew it was there. He had found clarity in the crisis by trusting a system he had built in the dark long before the lights ever came on. He touched the wall, not only winning the gold, but smashing the world record, completely blind. The lesson. The lesson isn't about swimming. It's about how you respond when your plan fails, when your equipment betrays you. When the world goes dark, a true leader doesn't hope for the best. They prepare for the worst. The chaos is inevitable, but your response is a choice. You can either let the darkness drown you, or you can trust the count you've already practiced. That is the out hustle mentality. Once again, principle number 3. True leaders lead by example and remain calm through the chaos. Let's uncover the ugly truth. You say you want to be a leader. You want to be the one who people look to when everything is on fire. But filling that role is hard because it can feel uncomfortable. To quote legendary athletic trainer, author, and speaker Tim Grover from his book Relentless: From Good to Great to Unstoppable, he says, "Get comfortable being uncomfortable or find another place to fail." Because comfort is a trap. It's a slow acting poison. It whispers to you that you've done enough, that you've earned the break. It tells you to stay in the warm bed, to avoid the difficult conversation, to take the easy route. And every time you listen to that voice, you're not resting. You are negotiating with the weaker version of yourself. You are making a deal with the enemy of your future. Comfort doesn't build character. It builds regret. It builds the what ifs and the if onlys that will haunt you later on in life. So I'm asking you, why would you ever willingly choose that? Why would you choose to make peace with the version of you that is designed to settle when you were born to be great? See the pattern? Apply the framework. Learn to conquer your fears and turn pressure into power. Leadership is lonely, but it's also a strength that can change the people in your circle of influence for the better. Leaders are wanted and they are needed. And for you to reach your goals, you need to step into that role so that you can become what you were destined to become. Now, this pattern is ancient, it's timeless, and I'll prove it to you. We're going to take that thread from Achilles to Phelps and go back to 2,400 years to a pile of rubble in a city called Jerusalem. The people are broken, their walls are destroyed, their enemies surround them, laughing at their shame. And into this chaos steps a leader, Nehemiah. Now, whether you're religious or not, that's irrelevant. The lesson is there. See the chaos. The task was monumental. Nehemiah's people were to rebuild a wall around the entire city of Jerusalem. But the external pressure was suffocating. Two powerful enemies were mocking them from the sidelines, plotting to attack, spreading rumors. The workers, well, they were terrified, and every hammer swing was accompanied by a glance over their shoulder. But find the calm. Nehemiah's response is a workshop in leadership. He didn't panic. He calmly said to the people, "The God of heaven, he will prosper us. Therefore, we his servants will arise and build." And then he gives them the most brilliant strategic command: "Be ye not afraid of them. Remember the Lord." See, Nehemiah relied on his God, and he built a system. Half the men would work, while the other half would stand guard, armed and ready. He created a physical and psychological shield. Nehemiah didn't deny the danger, he simply demanded that the people's view of God become larger than the view of the threat. So, where's the lesson? Nehemiah acted as a filter for the chaos. He absorbed the external noise and the psychological warfare so his people could focus on the one thing that mattered: the wall. He understood that a leader's primary job under siege is to embrace the fear and provide the focus. When the external pressures mount, anchor your mind on something greater than the threat. Protect what matters most and relentlessly look back to the assignment that's in front of you. The threat doesn't stop there. Fast forward from a biblical account 2,400 years ago to a man whose world was vastly different, yet the principles remain the same. Now, how does a kid from the streets of Queens go from drug dealer shot 9 times, not just survive, but become an icon of power in music and in business? Curtis 50 Cent Jackson didn't get lucky. He mastered a pattern. He turned the chaos of the streets into the calm. In his book, The 50th Law, which I love reading, co-written by Robert Greene, 50 outlines the master class in this exact principle. The core thesis of his book is that your greatest fear is the key to your greatest power. In the very first chapter, 50 goes all in. See things for what they are: intense realism. In that chapter, he explains that leaders don't panic or delude themselves when things go wrong. They confront the brutal facts of their situation with absolute clarity. This is the foundation of the calm. You cannot be calm if you are not seeing reality. In his law of opportunism, it's about finding the hidden opportunity in every crisis. While others see a disaster, a leader sees a chance to learn, to gain an advantage, and to grow. And in his law of aggression, it discusses how you must be so deeply immersed in your environment that you could feel shifts and changes before anyone else. This deep familiarity allows you to remain calm because nothing is truly a surprise. Think Phelps in Beijing, goggles filled with water, Olympic gold on the line, exactly 21 strokes. 50 Cent shows that authority isn't given, it's taken through action. You lead by being the calmest, most prepared, and most decisive person in the room, especially when the stakes are highest. Your calmness becomes the command. The clarity in crisis framework, the chaos, the calm, the lesson, is how you conquer your fears and turn pressure into power. You see the pattern in Achilles, in Phelps, in Nehemiah, in 50 Cent. But let me ask you a question that cuts deeper than any story. Who are you when no one is watching? Not when you're at the office all alone, not when you are on the field, not when you're on Instagram. Who are you in the quiet moments when the chaos isn't knocking at your door, but only whispering at your ear? Because that's where your real pattern lives. That's where your identity is forged. There's a reason that most people crack under pressure. It's not because the pressure is too strong. It's because their identity is too weak. They've built their entire self-worth on things that they can't control: their job title, their bank account, other people's opinions. So when the storm hits, it doesn't just shake their foundation, it completely vaporizes it. I call this the identity ladder. Most people are standing on the bottom rungs, the rungs of circumstance. I am a vice president. I am a homeowner. I am in a relationship. That's not identity. That's a list of temporary conditions. The next rungs, just a little bit further up the ladder, are achievement. I am a 4-time champion. I am a graduate. I'm a parent. Better, but still fragile. What happens when you can't win anymore? What happens when the degree is already on the wall? What happens when the kids grow up and move out? What are you then? The true leader, the one who can find the calm in any crisis, they live on the top rungs, the rungs of character. They don't say things like, I'm a CEO. They say, I'm the person who shows up first. I'm the person who stays calm when others panic. I'm the person who keeps their word even when it gets hard. See the difference? The bottom rungs are about what you have or have done. The top rungs are about who you are. It's about an internal standard, not an external result. When your identity is built on your character, the chaos doesn't threaten you, it tests you. It becomes the stage where you prove who you are. Michael Phelps didn't win blind because he was an Olympian. He won blind because his identity was, I'm the guy who trusts his training. Nehemiah didn't rebuild the wall because he was a cupbearer. He built it because his identity was, I'm the man who gets the job done no matter the opposition. So the real question isn't, can you handle the chaos? The real question is, who have you decided to be long before the chaos even arrived? Let's get something straight. The title of this episode is Conquer Your Fears and Turn Pressure into Power. But this isn't a self-help episode. This is a leadership episode because the two are the exact same thing. You cannot be a leader if you are ruled by fear, period. And you will never turn pressure into power if you see it as a threat instead of a tool. Now, here's the distinction. The average person feels pressure and thinks to themselves, why is this happening to me? They see themselves as the victim of circumstance. Their focus is internal, survival, comfort, escaping the uncomfortable. Their fear is a compass pointing directly at their weaknesses. The leader, he feels the exact same pressure, and he thinks, this is happening for me. They see the circumstance as a test, an opportunity to reveal something about themselves, their team, their strategy. Their focus is external, their mission, their vision, the people counting on them. Their fear is the compass pointing directly to the growth they need to embrace. Now, that's the term. That's how you conquer your fears and turn pressure into power. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, how can this situation serve me and my mission? When your goggles fill with water, the question isn't why me, it's how many strokes to the wall? When your enemies mock you from the sidelines, the question isn't why are they doing this to me? It's how do we build the wall anyway? When the giant stands across you from the battlefield, the question isn't how can I survive this? It's how do I make a story out of this that will last forever? Conquering fear isn't about becoming fearless, it's about redefining the fear. It's about shifting your focus from your own discomfort to your team's objective. That's the essence of leadership. The pressure you feel is the privilege of leadership. It's the weight of the responsibility that you signed up for. The moment you stop carrying it like a burden and start wielding it like a tool is the moment that you start becoming a true leader. Now, I want you to go back right now. Go back to the last time you faced a moment of real soul crushing chaos. The moment it felt like the walls were closing in. Maybe it was a project that you poured your heart into that suddenly went up in flames. Maybe it was a tough conversation that left you feeling small, vulnerable, exposed. Maybe it was that presentation that you completely bombed, or that race that you ran and just crashed and burned. Whatever it was for you, I want you to be there for a second, feel it, get in the dirt with that emotion. In that moment, where was the chaos? Be specific, name it. Was it the fear, the shame, the voice in your head that was telling you that you weren't good enough? That voice is the giant on the battlefield. The chaos is the storm that's designed to break you. Now, the harder question, in that moment, did you find the calm? Did you have a system, account, a wall to stand behind? Or did you let the storm's voice become your own? Be honest, because the calm isn't something you find, it's something that you build. It's the pattern you practice in the quiet moments so that you can access it when the world around you is screaming and going crazy. This is a learned behavior, and once it's learned, it becomes a permanent part of who you are. This is you literally moving up the ladder from circumstance to achievement to identity. And now, the most important question of all. What is the lesson you can extract from that memory right now? Not the pain, not the regret, the lesson, the blueprint, because I promise you, it's there. The pattern is always there. The problem is that most people are looking at their past and seeing a graveyard of failures. Don't let the chaos of yesterday define the reality of today. By doing so, you are negotiating with the weaker version of yourself that is comfortable in regret. And I'm telling you, stop it. It doesn't serve you. Your past is not a prison sentence, it's a training ground. Every failure was a rep. Every moment of doubt was a lesson in building yourself into the leader you were meant to be. Every time you got knocked down, you were learning how to stand back up, but this time with more clarity and power than before. So I'm not leaving you with inspiration today. Inspiration, that's a feeling. Feelings fade. I'm leaving you with the system. I'm giving you the clarity and crisis framework. And this is the identity ladder. This is where you conquer your fears, where you turn pressure into power and live the life you've always wanted. Your challenge starts the moment we're done here. I want you to take out a piece of paper, a phone, a napkin, I don't care. Write down your biggest past failure. Then under it, I want you to write 3 things: the chaos you had going on in the world around you at the time, the calm that you wish that you had in that moment, and the lesson you will now carry with you forever. Don't just write it down, okay? Be vulnerable. Post it in the comments. Use the hashtag clarity in crisis. Let yourself be vulnerable for a minute, because leaders don't hide from their past. They weaponize it. They learn from it. And recognizing others who have gone through the same pattern gives you the permission to be the leader that you were called to be. Principle number 3, true leaders lead by example and remain calm through the chaos. This is not an exercise. This is your new pattern. Because when emotion meets systems, dreams become plans. When plans become habits, habits become character. And when character becomes consistent, success stops being an accident. Don't chase motivation. Build patterns. The life you've always wanted isn't waiting on luck. It's waiting on the patterns you're willing to practice. Now go build them. Thanks for spending some time with me. I hope you found some value in this episode today and that you become the leader that you were always meant to be. I know it's possible from personal experience and application. Conquer your fears, turn pressure into power, strengthen your own understanding of the out-hustle mentality. I'm your host, Joe Olivas. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with those within your own circle of influence. Like, follow, subscribe, drop a note in the comments. Don't forget, hit that notification button so you don't miss any future episodes or content. Well, catch you on the next episode.